Hi, Peter Boolkah here, and welcome to today's episode of The Transition Guy, where we're going to be looking at communication and, more importantly, our inability to be present when people often communicate with us. See, what absolutely amazes me is our ability as a species, on the whole, to be judgmental. And very often there are going to be people in our lives that we just do not resonate with, that just don't interest us. And when we see these people, guess what we do? We switch off our hearing. So how do we do that? See, there's this thing in our brain called the I know trigger. And what happens is when the I know trigger gets activated, we just totally zone out. So those of you that have kids, you probably know it with teenagers actually. You've got your teenagers, you're telling them what to do, and you probably hear back from them, I know, I know, I know. And you keep on talking to them, at them, as if it's going to sink in. And you look at their eyes, it's glazed over. Their eyes look like they're on drugs, totally spaced out. No matter what you are saying, according to them, you're talking, and all they're hearing is blah, 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 blah. Because they're not interested in what you're saying. Another example where the I know totally kicks in is we all have a group of friends, a circle of friends in which we sort of hang out in. And you'll probably find that one or two times you go out with this sort of group of friends and there is that person that you think, shit, I don't want to really speak to that person. It's like, do you know what? I've got better things to do than to listen to them because all that person's going to talk about is BS. So I'm going to avoid them the whole evening. So you're in your group and that person comes to you and you are cornered. And then the conversation starts. And you probably last 30 seconds before you go into, I call it Narnia, your own little happy space where there's nobody with you. And that person's talking, and it's like you're in the dream. And then after 5 or 6 minutes, you wake up, you become present, and you've got no recollection of that entire conversation. When that happens, that's your I know's kicked in. The challenge we've got is that our I know will often kick in more often than we would like it to. And the reality is, as a leader of a business, or actually when we're running teams in a business, it doesn't necessarily have to be the business leader. It could just be team leaders or executives. You can't afford not to be present. You always have to be listening and learning. And actually, do you know what? There may be something in there that's of vital importance that if you switch off, you're going to miss. So what's a great technique for actually avoiding the I know and keeping the hearing and keeping the listening going? Well, it's using a simple term saying, isn't that interesting? See, as soon as you think to yourself, whatever that person is going to say, isn't that interesting? You never switch off your hearing. You never switch off your listening. Do you know what? 95% of it probably is going to be BS. But it's not the 95% we're after. It's always about the 5%. It's making sure that we don't miss a trick and we are always on the ball. So if you suffer from massive I know, it's killing your communication, you're showing massive disinterest when you're hanging around people that you just don't like, and perhaps you're coming across as very rude as a result of it, and you want to change it, head over to boolkah.com and get in touch. And remember, failing to learn is learning to fail.